Welcome everybody to the drivers' press conference ahead of the FIA Formula One Chinese Grand Prix. The usual two sessions coming your way, and as you can see we have Fernando Alonso in the middle, and then we have Gabriel Bortoleto on the left and Ollie Bearman on the right. Very warm welcome to you all. Fernando, let's start with you. Race one done. What can you tell us about the car's potential after what we saw in Melbourne?
Yeah, difficult to know exactly. I think the qualifying was okay for us. I think until the damage in Q2 we were competitive, but then in the race, I think it was difficult to judge the performance of the cars. I think we just follow the car in front more or less, take care of the tire, waiting for the dry track to come, and yeah, it was a game, if we could say that. So yeah, I think we have to wait a few races, different track layout here, Suzuka as well, Bahrain with the slow speed corners. So I think after 4 or 5 races we will have a better idea.
You say you were looking after the tyres on Sunday, but did you learn anything about the tyre day? Because I mean, at the front, for example, we saw that McLaren were very strong, whereas Red Bull perhaps a little weaker. What did you learn about your car?
I don't know. That we had a little bit more pace than the cars in front, probably. But it was very difficult to overtake. It was only one, very narrow racing line to be able to overtake. And yeah, the tire deck was big, but when you follow cars, it's always big. So yeah, as I said, I think we have to wait and see. But it was an interesting first race. Pace, as I said, in qualifying was maybe better than expectations, so better than what we saw in Bahrain. The race was tricky, was difficult for everyone, but the outcome was 8 points for the team, thanks to a very good race from Lance. So all in all, it was a good first race for us.
So what about here? You were mighty in qualifying at this race last year. Can you hope for anything close to that if it's dry?
I don't know. I mean,
final one from me. You manage Gabriel on your right. A word from you on the job you thought he did in Melbourne?
I mean, very impressive, very good, but no surprises. He's the best of the new generation, together with Ollie, and yeah, I mean, he's well prepared. He worked really hard all winter long, and I think Melbourne is not the easiest track to make your debut. And the race especially was super tricky for everybody. So it was a hard test, but it was very impressive, and the first of many.
Thank you, Fernando. Gabriel, we might come to you now. Just nice to hear some words like that from Fernando.
Yeah, he's being nice because there's cameras, No, I'm grateful, everything A14 has done for me, not only him, but Alberto and Albert, through these last 2 years already that we have been working, F3 and F2, and they have been very cool and supporting me in the junior series. Fernando, obviously, with all the advices and helping me to do the step up also to Formula One now. So yeah, thanks for the words, and I will keep working very hard and trying to do my best. Obviously, it's just the beginning. There is nothing to, obviously I'm happy about the way we start, but there is a lot of work to still be done, and yeah, a lot of development from my side as well.
You say you're happy with how race one, or the race weekend in Melbourne went. What is the biggest thing you learned?
I mean, through the whole weekend, I think was very solid. Quali was good. FPs were very solid as well. I improved a lot through the sessions. Quali, I managed to do a decent lap on Q1, and then tried a bit too hard in Q2 there. But yeah, honestly, in the race was very tricky. I think I've heard from some drivers, there will be not many races more difficult than this one in your career, and slicks to wet and wet to slicks again, dry and wet conditions. So it's a lot of things that happen, and we take learnings from that. You know, how to behave in a race like this, when to push, when to not push, when to take risks. And yeah, obviously through the race as well, we had some fights around, and yeah, it was just good to understand a bit how it's racing in Formula One.
And you've got your first sprint weekend coming up here in China. How challenging do you think that will be?
Well, I think we are back a bit to F2 with one practice, so nothing much I can do about it. Just less practice, less time to understand the track, but we will give the best we can and try to make as many laps as possible in FP1 and understand the track to try to make a decent lap in sprint quali. But yeah, I'm excited. So it's also it's nice to race and feel again the racing of Formula One, because like this I can be more prepared for Sunday as well.
Well, good luck this weekend. Thank you, Gabriel. Ollie, let's come to you now. A roller coaster of a weekend in Melbourne for you. Just how important was it to get those 57 laps of the race under your belt on Sunday?
Yeah, it was a difficult weekend for sure. You know, I didn't make my life easy with the mistakes and clumsy mistakes that I did of the weekend. But I'm glad that we finished the race. Maybe not as competitive as we would have liked, but lots of data gathered and collected now. And now hopefully we have a dry weekend to see what we've learned and see if we can put it into practice.
Lots of data gathered. Just how are you approaching the weekend here in Shanghai?
Yeah, I mean, it's a sprint weekend, new track for me, so it will be an interesting one for sure. The track looks awesome from the simulator and from the onboards that I've seen, so I'm really excited to drive here. And it will just be important to get up to speed quickly and already be there for the sprint qualifying.
And Ollie, what about the pace of the car? What can you tell us after testing and race one?
Yeah, I think race one was a bit of a surprise for all of us within the team about how much about how uncompetitive we were. We have a few kind of pointers now as to why that was, particularly in the race. We were a bit out of the window of performance, so we have a few ideas now heading into Shanghai. Unfortunately, not enough free practice sessions. It's not the time for us to have a sprint weekend, but we'll see what we can do, and I'm sure it will be a much better one.
All right, best of luck with that. Ollie, thank you very much. Right, let's open this to the floor. We'll come to the broadcasters first of all. David.
Yeah, David Croft, Sky Sports F1. It's a question to all three of you. It was quite the intriguing, interesting afternoon in Melbourne. But one thing that surprised me was the sight of cars behind the safety car still going around the track, whilst there were lorries recovering other tracks and marshals stood on it. Do you, all three of you, feel that a red flag might have been a better option rather than seeing lorries on the track when cars are moving, especially on a day when people were spinning off on the white lines because conditions were so tricky?
Fernando, can we come to you first?
I don't know. I don't know the exact details, so difficult to comment. But I think Melbourne is not an easy track to recover cars. So at one point, yeah, they need to go into the track, and yeah, I think we have now a different system than what we had in the past. That in the yellow flag zone, even behind the safety car, you have to respect even a slower lap time. So I think, yeah, at one point you need to take that car out from the track. So if you respect that time, should not be too fast in that zone. So yeah, I know, sense of the question, but I don't think that it was, nothing crazy. I think it was under control.
Thank you. Gabriel?
Same, to be honest. I agree. The double yellow area, that you need to follow the delta, you go very, very slow there. And if the stewards decided like this, for sure they're keeping an eye on that after what happened in the past already. So they wouldn't try to make a mistake like this again.
Yeah, I agree with everything they said. At the speeds we were going, it was okay. But yeah, I understand the sense of the question.
All right. Thank you. Yep. Next.
Gabriel, after you have, of course, learned a lot for this race, and also there are technical issues that you should have, I don't know, investigate, or people had any answer for you from your team on matters of brake? Did you have any brake problems at the end? What was it? And the suspension. Did you touch anything for the suspension to brake? Did you understand what happened there? And now are you like feeling good and secure that it's not going to happen again?
Well, from the brake problems, I stand to what I said during the whole race. You know, whoever was in my radio in watching the race, but there is nothing clear for us, and we don't have a clear answer for that. But they are studying this, analyzing back in the factory to try to understand the real reason why it broke, and if there was actually an influence in my spin as well, the corner before, or if it was purely myself getting the curb.
Thanks, Gabriel. Okay, yep, at the front, next one.
Alessa Naujoks, RTL Germany. I've got a question to Ollie. Hi, Ollie. As you have already mentioned, you had a difficult start into the weekend in Melbourne. But how difficult was it for you to get all those scenes out of your head, to stay focused, to stay positive for the race?
Yeah, of course, not enough laps for me heading into the weekend, heading into the race, should I say. And yeah, disappointing that the weekend turned out that way. I was quite glad to have the rain on race day. Kind of leveled the playing field a little because I hadn't done any dry laps. And then the mindset was completely shifted, and it was really just about surviving on Sunday. You know, we had so many DNFs that day, super difficult conditions, going through the track drying with all the wide lines that we have on that track. It's a bit of a minefield out there. So yeah, it was just really about surviving, and quite a different mindset to the rest of the weekend.
Thank you, Ollie. Any more from the broadcast? Yep, David, back to you.
It's a question to Fernando. I make it 7 drivers on the grid that weren't born when you made your Formula One debut, and you're racing against them. So how do you feel, old or grateful?
Both, probably, yeah. I don't know. I mean, you know, it's a privilege to keep racing, you know, and doing what I love to do, which is racing cars. And I've been lucky enough to race and to experience many different eras of the sport. And I still here, and I still feel competitive and motivated and fresh to travel around the world and race these cars. And you know, and most important, I think, feeling competitive. If one day I feel that I'm not fast, or I feel that I'm struggling on the pace, or you know, or anything, I will be the first one that I'm not enjoying. I'm ultra competitive person. So, you know, for me the most important thing is that you know, I made my debut in 2001. I raced the first ever Chinese Grand Prix, 2004 here, and in 2025 I'm here, and I'm as fast as 2004. Is what I feel. Or faster now, because maybe there are different tools now and different possibilities for us, for drivers, to improve ourselves and to you know, tweak some of the weaknesses that we could have, you know, along our careers. So, yeah, as I said, I feel privileged to be here.
Thank you, Fernando. Any more from the broadcasters? Yep.
Just one more to Gabriel. Now, for the good stuff, Gabriel, what are your expectations on this track? What do you think you could enjoy on this track?
The amazing 5-6 seconds T1, I think, the long one. I've driven a bit in the simulator. Obviously, it's a cool track, high speeds, medium speed corners. It's a bit of a mix. They resurfaced the track as well, so let's see, hopefully a bit better towards the bumps that we saw that maybe was a bit of an issue last year for the drivers. And yeah, I'm excited to drive here, and looks a very nice ambient atmosphere and a nice track.